All right, two issues here. Two issues. Travis, do you have the verses that we're going to do today? Good. Brian, are you with me to take the microphone? All right. I want to do a little experiment. I was looking ahead. I'm going to blow your minds. You ready for this? And Brian, it's going to be a little bit hard for you because you're reading, but I want you to listen to yourself as you read if you can. I want you to read the first chapter. Okay? Just the verses, semi-slow, and realize just how much ground we've covered. It's going to blow your minds. Go ahead. First chapter of Mishlei. Just read through 20, how many verses? 33 verses. Just go ahead and read. Pay attention to the things Brian's going to say. We literally have covered the entire book, but it's just going to get deeper and deeper. Go ahead.
Okay, almost there. Mishlei chapter 1. The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and discipline, to comprehend words of understanding, to receive the discipline of wisdom, of righteousness, justice, and equity, to give prudence to the simple, knowledge and discretion to the youth. Let the wise man hear and increase learning. The understanding man shall acquire wise counsels. To understand an allegory and a figure, the words of the wise and their riddles. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. Fools despise wisdom and discipline. Hearken, my son, to the discipline of your father, and do not forsake the instruction of your mother. For they are a wreath of grace for your head and a necklace for your neck. My son, if sinners entice you, do not consent. If they say, come with us, let us lie in wait for blood. Let us hide for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive like the grave, and the whole ones like those who descend into the pit. We will find all precious possessions. We will fill our houses with plunder. Cast your lot among us. We will all have one purse. My son, do not go on the way with them. Restrain your foot from their path. For their feet run to evil, and they hasten to shed blood. For the net is scattered without cause in the eyes of all winged fowl. But they lie in wait for their blood. They hide for their lives. So are the ways of everyone who commits robbery. It will take away the life of its owner. Wisdom's shout into the street. Into the squares she gives forth her voice. She calls at the head of the noisy streets. She utters her words at the entrances of the gates in the city. How long will you naive ones love naivety? And the scoffers covet scoffing, and the fools hate knowledge. You shall repent because of my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit to you. I will let you know my words. Since I called you and you refused, I stretched out my hand and no one listened. And you have made nothing of all my advice, and you did not desire my reproof. I, too, will laugh at your calamity. I will scoff when what you fear comes, when your fear comes like a storm, and your calamity comes like a whirlwind, when trouble and straits come upon you, then they will call me, and I will not answer. They shall seek me, and they shall not find me, because they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They did not desire my advice. They despised all my reproof. They will eat of the fruit of their way, and from their counsels will they be sated. For the backsliding of the naive shall slay them, and the tranquility of the fools shall cause them to perish. But he who hearkens to me shall dwell confidently, and shall be tranquil from the fear of harm.
How great was that? How great was that? That was the least religious thing I've ever heard in my entire life. That was straight up poetry right there. Wasn't it? Now that we've cracked this thing, and then the Hebrew is beyond. I mean, I heard what you're saying in English, but I mean, the Hebrew is just, that is poetry in motion, man. We have totally cracked this thing open the right way. No joke. I mean, I'll tell you what. I understand now what Mishlei is. I'm going to tell you what it is. What do you think, Travis? What do you think I think Mishlei is? And I'm positive I know now. Positive. What do you think I think it is? Brian, do you know? This is the voice that the Navon hears. This is the voice of God that the Navon hears, no matter what situation. That's what it is. When he says, my son and my reproof, that's not Solomon and it's not God per se, right? It is the voice. I mean, obviously it's God, but I'm saying it's the voice that the Navon hears. You know, it's just, that's it. Game, set, match. Done. That's what it comes down to. That is Mishlei. The voice of the Navon. Hold on one second. That is heavy. Heavy. That, like I said, that was the least religious thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Right? If you were to hear people say, like, oh, I don't know, scripture and the Bible, and man, that had nothing to do with religion then. Nothing. Nothing. That's 100%. That is poetry, man. That is that is the revelation of the Shekhinah on the highest level. Let's look at something up. 1 second. You guys should be proud of yourselves. You have opened up Mishlei. I mean, we 6 months of ironing out 2 verses. We got the whole book. Because now the Hebrew is opened up. Okay. All right, Travis, where are we at? What is the... We did a verse on like half Job, half Mishlei. On the Job night. So that was one of them. All right, so yours... Okay, that's that. All right, so 23:1. Let's go. Let's go. 23:1. All right, Brian, if you want to go ahead and read 23:1. Go slow.
Okay. There we go. 23:1. If you sit down to dine with a ruler.
To what? To dine?
Dine, yes.
Okay, go ahead.
If you sit down to dine with a ruler, you should understand well who is in front of you.
Oh, yeah, I remember doing this first in my research. That's a great one. Aside from the understanding, you know what he's saying here? I remember this from back in the day, right? Whenever you sit down across from somebody, his reality is reality to you. You follow what I'm saying? So it's like this. You're sitting next to, across from a guy, of course his name is Bob, and Bob is the CEO of a company, and you sell vegetables, okay? And you're trying to basically see if you can sell your vegetables to Bob, and you guys went out for lunch. You caught this? What I'm saying so far? All right. Now, in the business world, you're going to say, you know, you just want to get the deal, right? I don't really care about Bob. I just want him to buy my groceries, correct? I want him to have K&K Vegetables outfitting his 3 restaurants that he has in town, right? I have great cucumbers and salad and stuff, and Bob has a famous salad bar, and I want my vegetables gracing his salad bar. 1 or 2. Only that's not reality. That is a lie, and it's a fantasy. You know who Bob really is? I'm going to make this story up just as ridiculous as possible, okay? Bob is divorced. He's an atheist, Gemini, a little bit overweight, a bit of a womanizer. He likes to smoke cigarettes, social light drinker, a little bit obnoxious. He's here to entertain, different people for the salad bar thing. He's pretending to be my friend. Blah, blah, blah. Okay? You with me so far? And you know that's also fake, what I just said? Completely fake. You know what Shlomo's going to say? Shlomo's going to say like this. Again, let's assume that I'm King Solomon and I am the master of everybody. Okay, I'm not, but let's pretend that. Solomon's sitting there and he says, Bob, in Solomon's mind, okay, he says, Bob is a lates. Bob is a lates. 1 or 2. All right. Now, we can assume that Solomon's the Navone. Agreed? So now, what is the definition of this encounter, of lunch? What is the definition of that encounter? The lates and the Navone, period. So what's going to happen in the lunch? The Navone's going to get hit over the head. The lates is going to get hit, right? The waitress is going to say, oh, Bob, you're such a jerk. And Bob's going to say, I'm not a jerk. Whatever it is, okay? Just a little social dynamic. But the point is, don't judge Bob by what you think Bob is. Gemini, he's single, he's overweight, he's a nice guy, he's a bad guy. Bob is a lates. I don't care how much you dislike or like Bob, he is a lates. It's not changing. Okay? When you're having lunch with this lates, the waitress is gonna hit him in the head. He's gonna respond. You're gonna get hit in the head. Okay? Even by mazel. Because your cucumbers come from Idaho. And Bob doesn't realize that. And when Bob got hit in the head, he's going to say, ironically, hey, look at this. We ordered salad. Right? We ordered salad in the date. And he's going to say, what is this, a stupid Idaho cucumber? How do you feel now, Mr. Navone? How do you feel? You're not too happy. Right? So the waitress hits him over the head with some kind of verbal attack, and it makes him upset, and then he lashes out, I hate all Idaho cucumber people. And you're sitting there like, well, duh, I sell cucumbers from Idaho. Now you got hit in the head. Now you're wasting your time. Now you're thinking about how quickly you can get out of this lunch date with Bob. And you're asking yourself, why does God put me with this idiot named Bob? Why do I have to be here with Bob? And the answer is because you're ignoring reality and you're fighting God yourself, and this is your muster that God is giving you. Correct, Amundo? You are not acknowledging there's no such thing as Bob. There's no such thing as cucumbers. Okay, the fact that you understand this, Bob is a lates, and the Navone is destined to run into the lates. And little did you know, but the guy next to your table who's listening and eavesdropping on your conversation, and Bob's like, yeah, that guy's an idiot. Look at him. He's wearing a Dallas Cowboys hat. Doesn't everyone know that the Cowboys are horrible? That guy's listening because he has a little restaurant on the corner of 5th and Main, and he would love to have Idaho cucumbers. Would love to. Well, it's little Gare in the making, right? He's trying to raise his head. He's got his first restaurant, and he's like, man, can't anyone ever give me a break? Is there really a God? God, why can't you give me a break? It's always about you, God. It's never about me. See what I'm saying? Understand the reality. It's not about the guy with the Cowboys hat and the ignoramus across from you. It's a lates, it's a petty, and a navone. Let's say, turn life into a divine joke. A petty, a lates, and a navone walked into a bar. That's your life. That is your life. As George Carlin would say, which one are you? Which one do you want to be? That's what King Solomon is saying. Which one do you want to be? Do you want to be the lates? Do you want to be the evel? Do you want to be the seal? Do you want to be the navone? Do you want to be the chacham? Do you want to be the tzaddik? Do you want to be the Russia? Which one are you? Because whenever you decide, whenever you sit down with someone, that's your arena of reality. Right? So if you're not the navone, then somebody else is. If you're not the lates, then somebody else is. If there's no lates around, guess who it is? It's you. So one avenue of what Solomon is saying is, know this book. This is life. I mean, we know that, but I'm giving it in the take of this pasuk. Right? We can talk about this to the end of time. I think I made my point pretty clear, right? Know the bottom line is know the Torah reality that you are in at all times. Anything outside of Torah reality is not really reality. Right? I don't care if it's your brother, your mother, your friend, business partner, your spouse, whatever it is. King Solomon has laid down for you every type of Torah reality. And you need to know it and identify it and do not argue with it. Because it is stronger than you. It is the will of God. You cannot unlates somebody. So the quicker you size them up, if they're a lates or a navone, right, you don't need to be paranoid of a navone. You need to work together with the navone. Because he's going to grow from it no matter what. It just, the understanding, the terrain, the chitzonius chokhmah, the outer realm of wisdom. The perceivable realm of wisdom. All right, that's what jumps off the page at me. But the reason why I chose this verse is because of the double language bin tavin. Bin tavin. You will surely understand. Now, tavin is reiteration of the word bin. Now, I'm going to ask you a twofold question. Where have we seen the word bet yud nun, bin, in terms of our research and stuff? Where have we seen it? Any takers? Going once. Going twice. Not all over. We've only seen it once. Only seen it once. Number one, I'll tell you, Levin. It's lehavin, and this is not exactly lehavin. Remember, the hays make all the difference. All the little letters and articles make differences. we said that bin was the root of the word bina, understand, which means not to understand, but to split hairs, to make fine categorization, one or two. So you see, the difference between the lates and the navon is probably a hair's breadth, right? Because remember, the navon is getting beat up at the same time the lates is. That's how God engineers it. And the ger, if it's a true ger, he's going to lift his head and he has a choice. Just to use the verse from 2 weeks ago or last week. That he's going to either say the lates is right, poor lates, everyone's teaming up on our lates, or he's going to realize it's a lates and he's going to go to the navon. Jethro's either going to go back to Egypt like the Jews were always wanting to do, or he's going to go to Moses and clean the Torah. Right? Is that not every story ever told? Look at like just in any social circle, right? You got the arrogant guy, you got the secret hero, and you got the people on the sidelines, like a jury, right? And they're trying to figure out because they're not too smart, they're not too bright, they're rookies, they're new. You're the new kid in school. You just don't know what flies here, and eventually you make your choice, and hopefully you make the right choice. Now, here's the Kasha Smuya. You know what Kasha Smuya is? The secret challenge. Where else have we seen the word Beit Yud Nun in this context? Maybe not in our class, but we've seen it. And it's been brought up at times. Secret challenge question. Going once. Going twice. Any takers? Yehoshua. Fill in the blanks. Yehoshua. Hello. Bin Nun. Bin Nun. Right? It's not Ben Nun, it's Bin Nun. And the Ramban says that the Bin Nun is this meaning of the word. It is not Ben Nun, it is Bin Nun. And the Nun makes all the sense, right? Perfect understanding. Yehoshua Bin Nun. All right. Let's see here now. We want to focus on the verse. 1. Rashi la'achol. Right? We're going to eat together. And bin tavin. Here we go. 10. Livcha ladat mihu im eino tzara o yafa. Rashi's giving you a nice little mazel nugget here, right? You got to place your heart to know Mihu. Who is this chap? If his eye is to cause you troubles or nicely. Are we going to have a nice lunch or a troubled lunch? Now, it doesn't mean I'm going to pickpocket you and steal your wallet. 1 or 2. It doesn't mean I'm going to insult you and call you a bad name. 1 or 2. It doesn't mean that I dislike you openly. It just means it's not jiving. There's no chemistry here, right? Like in Judaism, you go on shidduch dates, right? You don't even know the person, never talked to her before. You just, the shadchan, the matchmaker calls you up. Hey, yeah, blind date. That's right. And so when you're dating, it's always like the guy is thinking, just like send me anything that moves and I'll marry her. I promise. Right? And the guy dating is much different than the girls. But I think this is a classic example of the female view of the blind date. Shannon, tell me if I'm right or wrong on this one. Right? It's like he's a nice guy. The guy's a nice guy. He looks nice, dressed nice. He's not a bad guy. The bottom line is know who you're sitting across. Wait, you there? Travis, your microphone's up. Hello? So, there's the guy. He's just thinking about, just counting numbers until he gets married. The female aspect is this a troublesome encounter or a nice encounter? has nothing to do with are you a horrible person or not, right? So, again, you're sitting to eat, and then the ruler's across from you, very male-female in this. I mean, it's a bit primal. But you'll surely understand that who was before you, right? This is how you can tell. It's what's the proof of what I'm saying? You will surely understand. Well, which species on this planet has understanding? Male or female? That's right. So this is how you can understand the woman point of view of how they view the world. Right? This is how it goes down. Right? It's a different way. Guys don't judge the world this way. Guys judge it like he's got on a cowboy hat. I like the Cowboys. I see nothing wrong with the Dallas Cowboys. I think this could be the best friend I've ever had. We're practically going to live in the man cave together. Then he goes home and tells his wife, "Hey, honey, this guy Bob, he had a cowboy hat. I think he's my long lost brother." But meanwhile, you're totally ignoring and lying to yourself how you feel about Bob. Right? Bob made remarks that made you feel a little funny. Right? You were like, "Yeah, the receiver Clark, he's going to be an all-pro and practically a Hall of Famer." And Bob is just like, "I don't know, he kind of drops the ball in crucial times." And you're like, "No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. He only dropped it once. How can you say that? How can you say that about this perfectly fine specimen of football brilliance?" So, in the world that we live in, most people would say you're splitting hairs, David Katz. You're really criticizing Bob because he doesn't like the receiver that you like? Really? That makes or breaks it? One or two? With where I'm going. But the bottom line is, it does make or break it. Okay? If you're not getting along on that level, this is not your long-lost brother. Don't bring him home. He's not moving into the man cave. Then they'll say, "No, Scottie Pippen was actually the greatest. It was actually Scottie Pippen's team." And there's reports and statistics that show that Michael Jordan actually wasn't the greatest of all time. He was actually put in positions based on the people around him. And it's proven by the fact that he went to the Washington Wizards. He actually had a lesser status of making points per minute and second than he ever did with a team that did not have Scottie Pippen by his side. Did you know that? So those are not quirky conversations. Those are called, "this is not working out." One or two. And it's mazel, it's chemistry, right? And the bottom line is, you might be the lates, and that's okay. I mean, we're not here crucifying the lates and the petty. You might just not know. I mean, look, imagine if I sat down to lunch, or you sat down to lunch with Peyton Manning. Who's the petty or the lates in that situation? The answer is you are. As I don't care how much you think you know about football, any NFL player knows it well beyond you. Right? The armchair quarterback. So, but you're not expected to be a football master unless you are paid to be a football master. But another part of it is existentialism, right? Understand your role in the universe. I mean, this is very important. Why did the lates get sent to me, the Navone, to make fun of my Idaho cucumbers? And we want to give them a shot? Why did I have to get beat up and insulted and ridiculed? And I really like Bob, and I want to sell him my cucumbers. So why am I getting beat up? Why am I a petty here? Why am I not the expert that I want to be? Any takers? You are not fulfilling your destiny. Right? You are meant to be something different. Right? You're gonna go broke, and you're gonna lose your company of salad stuff. And then because a year from now you're gonna realize it's all about selling tennis shoes. You're going to develop this new type of tennis shoe because you're going to meet this real guy. who comes in your life, and it's just, he's going to inspire you. It's all about the shoes, and you've had visions of shoes your whole life. And thank God I didn't get stuck selling cucumbers to this Bob guy. You see what I'm saying? So even if you're the lates, okay, it's not the end of the world, right? You know, I'm the Navone, and I really need a quality cucumber, and you're frankly a waste of my time. And I don't care how good intention you are, it's just not your destiny, right? So we stop in the Ger world also. Like, Noahide is not bad, right? Ger, tzedek, this, that, these are not statuses or labels. It's just where you at. You know, I was not the greatest Kolo guy. Why? Because they don't learn Ger and Kolo. In Kolo, they learn everything but non-Jewish stuff, right? So I had to move on. So somebody most likely felt that I was a petty or a lates. You know, he's just not getting it. Non-Jews don't belong in this thing. I'm probably seen as a very big lates. And from their perspective, I am. So anyways, you understand the three dimensions to this, and you know, 4 dimensions, a 360-degree view of how this works. And you size it up, really, your gut instinct. That's the definition of the word arum, right? The level of wisdom, arum. Right? Like the snake was arum. That's the bad way. But here, you got to rely on your gut, because this is a place where being objective is not good. You are not good to be objective here, because you are objective based on bias. I have great cucumbers from Idaho. Let's even say your cucumbers are great. But in a year from now, you would just rather be selling tennis shoes. So who cares if you're right? See what I'm saying? It makes no difference that you're right. And if you are right, you're going to have to re-change all of Bob's world to realize the greatness of your cucumber. Which even, maybe that's right too. The point is, how do you feel about Bob? Right now, you're in this lunch, and you don't even know about the shoes. You cannot entertain the truth. All you know is, this guy is really annoying me. Will he just buy my cucumbers already? 1 or 2. By definition, that is not a marriage. If you feel this way now about Bob, it's only going to get worse. 1 or 2. Then you're making compromise. Right? Then you're like, well, you know, he calls me an idiot. I call him a jerk. And, hey, that's our healthy relationship. I'm sorry, that is not a healthy relationship. 1 or 2. Then he's blowing me off. He's not showing up. He's not calling. I got to wait around for this guy, but he buys my cucumbers on time. Thanks for Bob. Money works. That is the world we live in. That's what Shlomo's saying. Recognize it before it's too late. Again, it's a very female approach, at least I know from the dating aspect, right? And, you know, in my situation now in dating and things, that's how you have to look at it. You know, now I'm blessed to have 2 kids. Why? Because now I'm not looking out for my own interests. Now I'm thinking, like, is this person I'm sitting across from, is this a mother to Reuven? See the difference? So if I'm not feeling the, mommy vibe, it's just not happening. Is this person going to be good with my kids? When you're single, you can lie to yourself and make stuff up, right? You hate vacations. If she says, I love vacations, you say, yes, I can learn to love vacations too. Because you don't even know what you stand for. You don't even know where you're going. You don't know why you feel this way about vacations. And a lot of marriages go and break up over this because they feel, I can learn to love vacations. She loves vacations. I can learn to love them too. Maybe that's true. Maybe you will learn to love them. The bottom line is understand how you feel. Right? No offense. You're a nice guy. You're a nice girl. But it's just I feel ayin sar. I feel troubled around you. I don't feel nice around you. Nice is actually a good Hebrew word. Nice is a fantastic Hebrew word. Yafeh. Sometimes life needs to be nice. All right. That point should be pretty clear. So that's what Rashi is defining as you will surely understand. Which this makes me happy because that is a classic female character trait, or Bina, right? And to realize Rashi's putting it in those terms, that really is, I think, what Bina comes down to. Can our Bina representatives give me a 1 or 2 on this? So I don't feel like I'm butchering this, to no end. All right. Let's go on the Aramaic. I forgot to do the Aramaic. In Yesivta Lemechal Im Shalite Asbayin Kamal Rashayim. All right, we know Asbayin, but you know what? I remember there being a grammatical difference. Let's look it up. But remember there was a difference with Asbayin? That Taf made a grammatical difference. Let's see here. Let's look up Ban. Hey, Bin. Let's look up Bin. So we can reclaim the wisdom. Bin, Boyin, Isboyin, Itbayin. I remember that we had that. Itbayin. Ah, there it is. Exactly where I remembered it. Itbayin. To reflect upon, to understand. To be, no, just that. To reflect upon. See that? There's a resonance here, isn't there? Right? When you leave somebody, you need to let them resonate in the reflections of your mind. I want to go away from the word meditation, if you don't mind. I want to use the word reflect or resonate, meaning when you're in someone's presence, let's just assume that it's not good, because if it's good, you wouldn't question it anyways, right? So when it's not good and they're just kind of irky, let that person settle in your soul. Remember, like Job says, don't point fingers, don't blame, and you don't need to speak lashon hara and trash the person, but just really digest why this person rubbed you the wrong way. And allow yourself to be okay with it. And allow yourself, this is going to go all Job right now. Allow the pain. You see where I'm going with this? Can you fill in the missing word that I want to say? I want to see if you can get it. You realize where I want you to feel the navon. You feel where this is going? It just clicked in my mind. That's why I say this. You feel where it's got to go? Allow yourself to get musser. See what I'm saying? Turn it into musser. Allow your world to get rocked. Compassion, I think so, on yourself and on them. Just, don't be such a wall. What do you care that, oh, you know what? You don't know much about football, Can't you just admit that? Does it really have to come down to the wire where it's like, no, he is wrong. I am right. My receiver favorite is always the way I said it is, not like he said it. That's right. Give Bob the last word. Isn't that great? For the sake of the next time you run into Bob in a totally different person, you're going to be like, we got the Bob program. I get it. This guy is a Lates, and I thought this was my best buddy of all time coming back into my life, and suddenly I feel threatened that he knows everything in the world about Toyotas, and I drive a Toyota, and it makes me feel kind of funny for some reason. Hello, Lates Bob. How are you doing? Now you can just work with it. That's all. Again, no beating up. Just work with it. And you know the waitress is going to come or your friend's going to come and Bob, the new Lates, is going to get hit over the head, right? There's going to be a little bit of a brouhaha. And you're going to be on the receiving end. And there's going to be the petty popping up, right? The life cycle's going to start all over again. So now you can prepare to be hit. You don't need to take offense. Let the musar come. Follow the situation. And like Loretta said, be nice, be compassionate. When Bob gets hit over the head, did you ever think to say, hey, Bob, how's your head feel? Does that hurt? One or two. Right now, you're definitely the Navone. You are definitely the Navone once you go compassionate on Bob. And now, maybe Bob can become a bit of a petty. Maybe you can wake Bob up. So first we had wake up your moron man, 1 or 2. Now we're working on waking up your friend, the moron man, 1 or 2. That's it. First, you got to wake up. Then work on waking up every other moron in the universe. It's called the Lates. The half moron man is called the petty. Right? And these are not derogatory terms. It's just life is going to happen so fast. People are going to make morons out of them. It's called musar. The Lates is going to get hit. The petty is going to get hit. The Navon's going to get hit. And the Chacham's there dodging the hit because he's learned his lesson, but he is not fully awake yet. That's it. I was asleep, but my heart is awake, whatever it is, right? All right. Now, let's go to a different commentary. Let's see who we can find. Mitsudas David. Ten dascha. You're sitting down to eat kasher tishav lachol lechem im hamoshel ba v'hul bal suda. He's saying you gotta, if you're sitting down to eat, okay, that means that somebody else is the master of the meal. Is that always true? How so? You're going to say because why? Because it's your meal? They're coming to sit at your table? Why? Yeah. Well, I don't know what you mean by two, was the way I would phrase it, but let me put it this way. Even if we're coming to eat at your table, Travis, it is still not your table. It is still not your Suda, your meal, right? You have to look up to the Eibishter, Kodesh Baruch Hu, right? So no matter what. So basically the message is do not be a Lates at your own table to Hashem. and when I come to your house, I have to, respect you at your table, you respect God's table, and it goes all the way around. Bein tavin, tein dascha lahavin, es hadvarim asher lefanecha. Oh, this is nice. Travis, this is for you. Place your mind, your consciousness, your awareness. Lehavin. What is lehavin? Break it down. Break it down, right? Do not just see, hey, free food at Bob's. That you are destined to be a Lates if that's your attitude. You are definitely going to get beat up. If it's, hey, it's free food at Bob's. Break it down. Break it down. La'avines hadvarim asher lefanecha. Whatever's in front of you, break it down. Notice the cup. Notice the water. Notice the napkin. Notice the tablecloth. Notice the dust or lack of dust. Notice the wife helping out at the table. Notice if the Balabayit, the guy whose table it is, if he's relates to Hashem. Notice the house, notice the energy. Don't stop noticing. Right? Then you have the literal food, and then you can say spiritual food. So if we meet on the street and I'm starting to say, hey, Travis, did you hear about the Dvar Torah in Shemos the other day? What's going on there, Travis? You are now at my table. I took the liberty to say, hey, Travis, come to my table. Start paying attention. That is God saying, wake up, call, let's eat. Right? Start paying attention now. Is this guy relates to Hashem at his table? What's he serving? Is it hot? Is it fresh? Is it stale and old? Is it kosher? Is it not kosher? Is it maybe kosher? Is there a hechsher? All these things, start waking up. Food comes in front of you, spiritual, physical, literal, metaphor. Food comes, start looking. Now we know why there's kashrus, why the Torah has kosher. It is simply, aside from the literal, it's at least a metaphor. Start looking around when the food is served. That's it. Lechem means battle, 100%. 100%. That's why you got a fork and a knife. You are going to battle. Then he says, Lehi's boinin behem. Lehi's boinin behem. You're going to love this, Travis. Lehi's boinin lehem. Once you've identified your vessels, correct, Travis? You've identified your vessels, meditate on them. How do you like that? Meditate on the vessels to see in them if it is Ainu Yafel Al Ra, if it is nice or bad. You are going to meditate, is this good or bad? Right? And that's all you're doing. You're looking. Remember, do not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. First, look to see if it is good or evil. Then, find the tree of life. That's Mitsuda's David. Mitsuda's Sion. He's not here. He's not with us. Rolbag. What is that? What is that? There he is. Here we go. We are miskavin to the Ralbag. You know what miskavin means? Do you know what miskavin means? We thought exactly along the lines of the Ralbag. You ready? He says, the Ralbag, Vehu mazor ha-chochma, she is zonobo, im ha-moshel ba'adam, vehu ha-sechel hine, yikr lecham is yavshesecha lekarel ha-chochma, shetavin es asher lefanecha. That your encounter is the nourishment and sustenance of wisdom that will nourish you, and it's being provided by this guy, the master, Mushel, the ruler of the event, and it's provided for a man, and that is the intellect. And behold, it is calling out to you to sit down, right? Why do I care to have you over? I mean, seriously, do I really need you at my house? Do I really say, hey, Travis, I got this really good bread. Come over and eat my bread. No one says that. No one says that. Hey, Travis, I got this really great beer. I don't like you as a person, but I really want you to try this beer. And it's not because the beer has wisdom in it. It's just without any kind of connotation or inclination, it's just a beer for you, for no strings attached. No. I'm inviting you over to give you wisdom. Right? I'm trying to say, Travis, come over and have a beer with me because I want you to know that the immaculate wisdom that was reclaimed to make this beer possible. I want you to try the bread because it comes from Italy in a little town, and ding dong dong, ding 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 ding. When you get together, it is to give over wisdom. Do not think there's anything else going on. Abraham met Shem at the Temple Mount, and Shem came out with bread and wine. Was that really about bread and wine? No. Shem gave over the Torah of Shem to Abraham. Tell you that. Then, now that you know that you're receiving the wisdom, you will then seek to break it down. Because can you eat and chew a big chunk of wisdom? Or do you need to chew it up in order to get the wisdom? It's right. You got to break it up. Right? Don't just give the guy a beer and say, hey, what do you think? You'll say, okay, it tastes like beer. No, what do you want me to learn from this? You got to start talking about it. Spend some time with it. Let it resonate. Digest. Let it sit. And, people are like, okay, you're not enlightening me. I don't get what you're saying. Did you let it sit and resonate for 10 minutes? Did you digest your food? You swallowed it like a snake and you're saying, okay, I'm not enlightened. Now what? Spend time with it. Sit down with it. Interact with it. Let it, what's that word? Ferment. Then you understand what is before you. So don't walk into the guy's house either and say, oh man, late's no good, time to leave. Hey, I gotta go. Break it down. You're here for a reason. You got sucked into it for whatever reason. Right? Let it happen. Let it happen. And now, at least now that you're the Navon, you're empowered. And you're going to get hit, but it doesn't matter. Because you're a wise Navon. So just understand the Musar God's going to give you, because at the end of the day is all it's about. And now we're going to go on to the, let's see here. We got the Robog. Ibn Ezra. Here we go. Gimel Dveikim. L'chol l'cholechem. Bin Tavin Loshin Ayin. Yeah, that's very nice. The reason why they're saying if it's an Ayin Sar or Ayin Yofi, like a troublesome eye, right, or a nice eye. It's the language in Ani. I said ayin. Ayin is to investigate. When you learn Torah fast, it's called Bekias. When you learn it very slow, this class what we do is called Iyun. Very methodical, very picking it apart. So you're there. Bin Tavin is Lashon Iyun. Break it down. But really break it down. So the guy's talking to you, giving you the food, ask him a question if it comes to your mind. Right? If you really, you got to try to know it. You got to put some juice into it. You got to provide the juice. We're giving you the food, but you got to provide the juice. Even if it's just, basically stop being moron man. Because it's impossible that you wouldn't have a comment or a question. Or something to say. If you don't, that means you're in driving school and you're just basically telling yourself that you're moron man. I don't know what this guy's on about. He's telling me about his go-kart, his neighbor that made some go-kart. And I'm just saying, like, I don't really care about go-karts. I don't know why you're telling me about this. That's not your business. It is not your business or your place to tell this guy that he's a fool for making a go-kart with his neighbor. Right? It is not your place to tell him that. You need to really listen and figure out why in the world is this guy telling me about a go-kart with his neighbor. That's it. You just gotta do it. You just gotta suck it up and deal with it and get into this guy's headspace and realize the wisdom he's trying to convey to you. Because there's always Musar there. It's not possible that it's not there. Let it happen. Investigate. You'll surely understand. You will surely understand that you are sure to delight in food. Was there ever a real food that was not delightful? If it wasn't delightful, then it was not food. Right? Assuming that, you're not, filled on a stomach you just ate, okay? But food is food. Food is food. You can get into the whole tastes and things like that, but I mean, if you're just not going to eat it, okay, for you, that's not called food. That's what the Talmud teaches, right? If you give me, I don't know, something I just refuse to eat. What do I refuse to eat? What do I refuse to eat? I can't think offhand of something I refuse to eat. Like my kids' corn schnitzels. It's disgusting, right? That is not food. And that's a good example because that really is not food. It is like GMO and weird. But let's just say some kind of weird vegetable kind of thing. Sweet potatoes. I'm not big into sweet potatoes. People always offer me sweet potatoes. And I always say, no, thank you. Right? To me, it's just not food. When I go to the supermarket, I'm not saying to myself like, hey, great, it's the sweet potato section. I don't even see it. I don't recognize it. That's how you can repurpose things in Torah, right? Change a mazel, these things like that. But even that, I mean, if the guy insists, right? He's like, look, this is the world's greatest sweet potato. I'm not letting you leave until you eat my sweet potato. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to eat the sweet potato. I'm going to be like, all right. This guy is so bent and with wisdom on the sweet potato. Maybe he's got like the secret recipe. Going back, okay, I'll try the sweet potato. 1 or 2. And there's going to be wisdom in it. Right? If he's that determined to give me a sweet potato, there's got to be some kind of wisdom in it. Has to be. Here we go. Okay, that's all for that one. Now, Malbim. Tavin, v'bal tishkach. So he's saying, so the Malbim is giving you Musar. Isn't that great? Well, he's turning this into Musar. Why is he turning it into Musar? Because it's case in point. He's saying if the end goal is Musar, then I'm going to give you the Musar angle of understanding. 1 or 2. And therefore, he says, you know what it means to understand? You will surely understand who you're sitting in front of when you sit down to eat. He says, don't forget that you're sitting at somebody else's table. And you're the one that's sitting there. In the time of the meal, you will forget sometimes of the Creator and His honor. And you know what? You're gonna be obligated to die if that happens. Which basically means when you forget that you're sitting at someone else's table, guess what God's going to do to you? Any takers? What is God going to do to you? How is God going to obligate your soul to death? How does that work out? Anybody? Nobody? God is going to make you into the lates. That's the penalty that's going to come. All right, your friend Bob, he's like this big Dallas Cowboy fan. And your Bob says, hey, Brian, come on over on Friday night. You're like, yes, time with Bob. My best buddy, Bob. I love Bob. We're going to move in together in the man cave and talk about Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith for the rest of our lives. This is my long-lost brother. I love Bob, and Bob loves me. It's going to be awesome. Completely awesome. So you're excited. You are loving it. You are so excited that you practically moved into Bob's house. I'm sure Bob's wife loves that. And you're there, and you're sitting next to Bob, and it's like, yeah, Bob. And you say, Bob, you got anything to drink? And Bob says, hey, Brian, why don't you just go over the refrigerator yourself and grab whatever you want? Brian's like, yes, Bob is so cool. I'm going to go. He has always the best root beer. Oh, man, I'm drinking Bob's root beer. Brian, you are, drawing up your own death warrant at this point, right? God is just cracking the whip over you. You don't see it coming. And then all of a sudden, Steve shows up. Right? Steve shows up. and you say, Bob, you didn't tell me Steve was showing up. He says, yeah, Steve, I work with Steve now, and Steve is here. And you're like, but Steve doesn't feel this way about things as I do. Yeah, but Steve is okay. He's all right. He's a good guy. Yeah, but Steve makes me feel angry and filled with animosity. And frankly, I'd like to strangle Steve because he does not understand the Troy Aikman. So all of a sudden, when you got all excited, you were going to be the man of this table, you forgot that it's your friend's table. God engineers it. Brian becomes the late. And now Steve is going to pound you over the head with stupid things as you see it. You know, it's a long night now with good old buddy Bob. It's a long night. In fact, Bob's not even going to talk to you because Steve has to talk to Bob about things that you just don't care about. That's what happens when you lose sight of the pshat, that you have to give respect to the person whose table it is that you're sitting at. God will engineer that there will be what do you call it? You're going to pay for it from your soul, right? You're going to pay for it. You're going to suffer. You're not going to enjoy the food. And if you're not enjoying the food, you're already losing the wisdom. That's why you suffer in social situations. One or two. And it really is, right? You know, once you lose sight of that one, it just is a downhill spiral from there. And the alternative is when you realize, yes, I love my good buddy Bob, but there's always time to talk on the phone, about the Cowboys, just not now. Then everybody else there feels like they're part of the team. And if it's destiny that you and Bob are going to have this amazing conversation, then it'll happen. Right? God will allow the energy to heal everybody's soul. So that's the message learned there. And therefore now we're done with that one. So let's go back and answer the big question. The big question is, when you sit down to eat with the master of the table, you got to surely understand that to what is in front of you, to what is before you. And to focus on the word understand, I think now we understand it. Right? Bin tavin. Bin tavin. You will surely understand. You will surely reflect. You will surely open your eyes. You will surely investigate. And like the Vilna Gaon wisdom angle, right, is always to say, again, how do we wake up from moron man? How do you wake up from moron man? Another way of saying, like, how do you wake up in the dream? How do you get lucid dreams? Look for the food. Look for the food. Whenever you're being given food, literally or metaphorically, that's right. It's the wisdom's coming down, and now you just shut up and listen, check it out, investigate, reflect on it, absorb it, give the respect. Right? Some guy comes and ruins the Dvar Torah. That means heaven said, you know what? It's over. Move on. You got it. No need to dwell on this. Have a nice day. Right? Just be cool. Be cool. Let it flow. Let it happen. Right? The guy gave you your food, and now the meal's over. Then you just go. You're on the street. You're telling you the Dvar Torah. His wife calls. Got to go. Right? Okay, he didn't get to finish it, but you got what you needed to get. 100%. You got what you needed to get. Thank God. Bless God. That whole genre. One or two. All right, let's try to squeeze in the last verse. Travis, what's our last verse? This is a big mazel moment here. We're actually going to finish the Hebrew of discern. 28:54. Next week we're going to do the English. If I forget to say that at the end, either Travis or Brian, if you can write that down. Next week we're going to go into the English of discern. 28:5. Brian, if you want to go ahead and grab the microphone.
Mishlei 28:5. Men of evil do not understand judgment, but those who seek the Lord understand everything.
That's nice. All right, let's see here. B'nai Nasha. Bishay Lo Misboinin Dina. All right, so this is Ben Nosh. Remember, Travis, remember who a Ben Nosh is? This is your Balabas. He's 9 to 5. He's the guy that when he goes to the temple, just to bring an offering, and then the Cohen is like the man. And this guy's like, just tell me what to do so I can get it done and go home. Right? His favorite mantra is, that's not what I was told. I was told there's either Jew or non-Jew. None of this other in-between category. All right. That's him. So he does not misbind it. You like that muscle? Brian, you got to appreciate that muscle. Look at that. Did you cop what just happened? Did you cop what just happened? Travis, did you just cop what happened? That was a muscle moment. We're explaining the bar nosh, right? Your regular guy. And the Aramaic says, he does not split hairs on the din. Right? He does not check out the haluche. And I explained it with the whole thing. There's Jew and non-Jew. That's total mazel. So there's your answer. There's your answer. Right? The guys that work 9 to 5, they don't know ger. Why? Because ger is the tough type of place in din. You got to split hairs to get the ger. Really, you got to split it down. This guy, Anshe Ra, that's what Anshe Ra is. So this means evil, like he's Voldemort. Right? We're not looking for Voldemort. We're not saying Noahide establishment is Voldemort. What does it mean, Anshe Ra lo yavinu mishpat? It means B'nai Nasha Baishe lo misbayin dina. That they're not, interested or brave enough to go into the splitting fineness of law. That's all. We're not there yet. Hold the question, please. We'll get there in mamish 3 seconds. Thank you very much. Be well. Hold on, we're getting there. Right now we're in the Aramaic. Udaboye min kadam Hashem, but those who are literally requesting before God, misbaining kulahun tavta. They understand. They split. Misbaining, right? They're breaking it down until they get it. Kulahun tavta. How do you say that? Kulahun tavta. It's like the best of everything. The best of everything, right? So let's say I'm going to give you this is a weird kind of analogy, okay? You gave me a jug, like a pitcher, okay? 1 or 2. Visualize this? A pitcher. Let's pretend we're kind of like back in the Talmud times where nothing was thrown out, right? You took like replaceable parts. You cop this, right? So your earthenware pitcher at home broke its handle. Remember that when it happened to you last week? Right? The handle broke. And you went to the market and there's this junkyard of pottery, and you went to get a new handle for your pitcher, 1 or 2. And then everyone's like, oh, thanks. You took the best part. Now what? Now there's just like a big jug. Thank you. Thank you for taking the best part, Travis. 1 or 2. And Travis is like, have no fear. I saw on YouTube the life hacking video. You can turn the belly of the jug into a super camping light flashlight that lights up when you put Mountain Dew in it. 1 or 2. All right. So that's the idea. Is that when you break down the parts, don't just view it as a broken jug. That's the lates. You know, like, hey, what do you see here? Oh, I see a bunch of garbage. That's what you see. Or you can see your own personal needs. Oh, I take the best stuff. I take all for me. Right? 1 or 2. But the guy who's resourceful, you know, don't be such a heathen. Don't be such just, heathen meaning like just kind of, I know we talked about that word, Travis, but you know what I'm saying, like, don't be just a total brute, you know? Don't be just, you know, belching on everybody. It's like, jump, blah, 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 blah. You know? The idea is that see the beauty in everything. Because there is. You know, there's no such thing as just a broken jug. There are parts to it. There's a wisdom. That's what I was saying. There's a wisdom to the jug. Right? Back in the day, people understood that wisdom. We're just devoid of it now. We throw it away because we are those people. We are the ones that throw everything out and say, oh, it's just a jug. Throw it out. It's garbage. It's junk. But everything has a wisdom. And so that's what he's saying here, is when you break it down enough, you get into understanding all parts and how that they are the right part. How that's right. How everything's just the plan. Everything's in the plan. Everything's got a plan. Everything's just right. Everything is all good. All right. So I want to say that. That's the Aramaic. And again, you know, the Ger non-Jew, throw him out. Isn't that what we say about the Ger non-Jew? I mean, who cares? I want all the money, and I want to make converts, right? So this big, juicy Ger, that's mine. I'm taking that. And you're either a goy, an idolater, Akum thing, or you convert. Maybe we'll let you do 7 laws. You know, again, it's like I saw a video about I think a seal was swimming around in shallow waters, and they were amazed by the seal because it was attacking sharks to only eat like this little like nerve in the neck of the shark, and would eat it and throw out the whole shark. I mean, is that not like total exploitation? Just like it eats and just, you know, go away. So that's like, again, taking the Noah the Ger word, right, and just saying it means convert and let them convert. Everybody else just, you know, who cares? It's just, what's the word? There's a word here. It's not so much exploitation. What's the word I'm looking for? What's that word? When you just like, you know, you consume one small thing and you throw out the rest. What's the word for that? Travis, you know the word for that? There's a good word that I can't think of. It's like exploitation, but it's like being wasteful. It's being wasteful, but there's a better word. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. So you know you take what's good for you, and you throw out the rest, and you don't care about anybody else needing it, wanting it, applying to it. It's exploit, but it's a little different. I can't. But anyways, that's the point. That's the idea. So the idea is that the Anshe Ra, they don't see it that way, right? They see it as just being this type. But those that search for Hashem, they understand everything. They see this level of everything. Okay. The wisdom is here to give. I don't know how the words to use to explain that. Now we're getting to your Rashi. Einam masimim leiv leporayinus atid. They do not consider the retribution and payback of the future. She is bonanuba, v'yeshuvu midrachim v'yinatzlu. That they would meditate on it in return for their ways and be saved. Basically, the Noahide rabbi, if he would just learn Ger for 5 seconds, he would realize it's a gute Zach, right? But if you don't look at it, and you don't pay attention to it, and you don't realize these people are not going to just disappear because that you want them to, then you're going to be this thing called the Anshi Ra Lo Yavinu Mishpat, right? But it's a very simple fix. Just pay attention to it, look at it, right? Just look at it, meditate on it a little bit, check it out, and you can do tshuva. You can go back and say, look, I didn't know that was the deal, but I'm glad it's the deal. Mishpat. These guys, they understand the goodness, they understand the badness, they understand the judgment. Kach perish Rebbe Tanchuma Shal Dor Hamabel. That this was based. Very nice. Now that's nice. This is nice. He's saying the generation of the flood was this. So which one was Noach? Noach was the one searching for God that understood. Who were the people that died in the flood? The people that threw out all the stuff. There's a nice example, isn't it? Very nice example. That was the crime of the people, the generation of the flood. Who are we looking for here? Rob, wait, hold on. Mitsudas David. Af pavo aleya mishpat parayanus lo yavinu bigmol shebigmol ba ki choshmi makol lemikra. Even if it comes onto them, the mishpat, the due payment for their crime. Lo yavinu, they don't get it. Shebigmol ba, that whatever happens coming onto them, ki choshmi makol lemikra. They say everything just happens, right? They don't get the hint. So again, it's choosing to. Very nice. Again, this is the metaphor now. So when you gave me the hint, Rabbi Katz, you better shape up or ship out, right? Then I took that as you were being a bit in jest. And then I took your words only, literal, and laughed at you. And said, everybody says that, ha, ha, ha. Again, you took the best part of the steak and you threw out the rest. Right? I didn't just say those words to you to make you chuckle. I want you to change your ways and you're upsetting me. And I think people just use these as idioms. You better watch your step. Oh, yeah. Better count your blessings, too, right? Oh, look before you cross the streets. I mean, that's why Torah goes over people's head. When it speaks, they think it's just an idiom in the world of wisdom they throw out. Thinking it's just something people say, just something people do, right? Hey, Brian, did you know that you got invited to a very important person's house? You say, who cares? He probably invites everybody. No, actually, Brian, he doesn't. He was actually trying to, get with you and talk to you, blah, blah, blah. Right? So the Anshe Ra, they're the ones that just, what's that called? Debunk, right? Everything is not important. Nothing really matters. It's all just accidental. Nothing matters. Whereas the Musar approach, everything matters. Everything's with a message. You got to figure it out. That was Mitsuda's David, and Mitsuda Sion is not with us. Robong. Anshe Roar, Lazo Sasiba. Hine. Anashim haboichrim bara lo yavina mishpat emes bedeyas kihem yavachro ma shiot el ma shehatovea bo maisi etarav zeyi siba shelo yamdu ala emes bedvarim ha'iyunim. Okay. So it's the guys, the people that choose in evil. Again, we're going to modify the word evil here, meaning they don't understand godliness. Mishpat emes, God, dishing out the truth. I think, when we say the truth in English, that's in Hebrew, it's mishpat emes. But day is with the known schools of wisdom, because they flee from what could be revealed to as a sign to them. And they say it's just nature and just kind of happening. Mysius raw. Right? It's just a bunch of Arabs killing people. Right? They don't hear Islam, Gog v'Magog, Torah, Ishmael, right? Sons of Abraham. They don't, that's not where they're going. It's just, they see it politically. I just see a bunch of terrorists chopping heads off. Hey, is there a movie on? It's just another channel on TV. They don't see the divine mazel. That's why they don't check anything out. Why do I need to check? So a non-Jew comes to me to learn Torah. The Christians are always trying to learn Torah. That's my response. One or two. So why do I need to check out this non-Jew? Why would I ever think to check out a non-Jew asking me a question in Torah? That's the most preposterous thing I would ever do. I'd rather hit my head against the wall. Because the guy doesn't even think. Maybe you're not checking it out. Maybe you're not hearing it. Maybe you're not seeing it. Right? This is not just some random Christian coming to you. Right? That this is a person. He has a question. He has a soul. Right? He has an issue about light. You're a Jew or a rabbi, a scholar, blah, blah, blah. Right? So you see how, again, it's that ignorance to throw them out. Whether it was the exploited food, exploited wisdom, exploited soul. Right? If you want to give a donation, I appreciate that. Otherwise, get out of my life. That's the attitude. Whatever cause it is. Remember the ice bucket challenge? Right? Half of that money never got to the right source. Right? Hey, ha, ha, ha. We dump ice on our heads. Give me money. And so that's the mentality. And it's a total lack of fear of God. But the guy who seeks Hashem and guards the Torah to understand all things on its truth. He has no involvement outside of the completion of investigation of matters. Meaning this guy, he's into the end. You ask him a question, he's going to go to the end and answer it. You ask, I asked you to do me a favor, Brian, if you could fix my fence. You said yes. Brian's going to do it till the job's done. Right? Don't just say, oh, man, this is the wrong kind of screw for the fence. You know what? I'm just not going to put the screws in, and sucks to be you, because I hope you don't find out, because otherwise I'll make you into the bad guy. Of course I'm in the right here. The alternative is give your delivered service. Give the goods. See you later. And he's going to appreciate more Torah. The Torah is going to help him. He's going to grow with Torah and go straight to stand on all the true avenues and opinions, right? That, Brian, you're going to say, I've always thought that Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch was against Ger, and therefore I hate Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. All right, I'm speaking kind of dramatically. See you later, Loretta. Then you say, no, Brian, Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch was like one of the Ger masters of all time. You say, oh, that's great. because that means people on Facebook are putting bad information out about Rabbi Hirsch, and now I can incorporate another stream of wisdom and Torah thought into my repertoire of being a Torah scholar. 1 or 2. Which, by the way, is why everybody hates Rabbi Nachman in Breslov, which is a total crime against humanity. Right? Jumping up and down on the white yarmulke is not Rabbi Nachman. I'm not saying that they are bad for doing that. What I'm saying is people that say badly about Nachman because of that don't understand the brilliance of Rabbi Nachman, particularly the Ger Torah Rabbi Nachman. All right, so again, Lubavitchers are all about Mashiach coming. That's also not true. We're talking about stereotypes and labels. So once you realize the wisdom comes to you, then you can incorporate an entire new school and branch of thinking into your repertoire. 1 or 2. Now, that was the royal bug. And we are ready to turn the page. We're in the final stretch, gang, until we get to the English next week. Ibn Ezra, she is asku b'maisura lo yavino mishpatei Hashem. Basically, any time you are involved in a wicked action, you will not understand the laws of God. That's kind of like hitting you between the eyes, right? You know, non-Jews are, put in any 4-letter word there, okay? Just out of cultural upbringing, that means by definition, you did not get God. 1 or 2. See what I'm saying? I mean, just, again, women are, enter any kind of sexual reference in your mind, you just missed out the entire creation. 100%. 1 or 2. All right? Little kids are fill in the blank. Any word that does not fit the real emes, okay? They're annoying, they're dumb, they're this, blah, blah, blah. You just left out the entire universe. The alternative, those seeking God in the house of his prayer, what is that called? You can say it's the Beit Knesset, you can say it's the Beis Midrash, or you can say it's the Beis Hamikdash. Then you will request the law from the mouth of God through prophets and prophecy who understood every matter well. How great is that? How great is that? Why is Jewish wisdom the true wisdom in terminology of the Tanakh? Because if you are for God and you request God, where you request God at the Beis Midrash or the Beit Knesset or the Beis Hamikdash, by definition it means you split the hairs, you got it from God, you got the revelation, and you have the true tradition, and that's why Torah exists. It is a school of people that are interested in pursuing God and turning away from evil. If that's not Ger included, then man, I have really missed the boat and I retire and quit now. You can quote me on that. You can definitely quote me on that. And now the last thing is the Moabim. The Moabim. Then we're done. And we're ready for the English. These are people who praise the wicked. All right, this is a major thing. The Lagon says if you are not, basically, if you're not in a war against the Erev Rav, then you might as well have not been created and you're being joined to them. I mean, this is really harsh. You have to stand up for the emes. God has designed the world that way. And unfortunately, again, this is why people don't get Ger. If you don't stand up for the truth, you are, and I have seen this and lived it, you are not getting the truth of Torah, i.e., whatever comes along with Ger as well. If you're not going to stand up for the truth, you're not getting it. And most people are very comfortable not getting it. Very comfortable, right? They're satisfied with not having anything. So therefore, that's called Anshira. Mibnei shelo yavinu mishpat Hashem. Shiyashi l'rasha kerashaso shayimri. So you're sitting in the council of men, and this is what yeshivas do. They don't talk the truth. That's why I had to go. Right? And basically, anybody that gets into emes has a very hard time learning in establishments where the learning is very shvach. It's a very common thing. So a lot of people will just kind of retreat and learn on their own. Okay, you can daven in the minyan, you go to shul, yeshiva, but at the end of the day, when it gets silly, you just gotta step out. Shomrei Torah shehem evakshe Hashem yavino kol drachei Hashem shehem b'tzedek u'mishpat lachein yisgairu bam. How do you like that? I am so afraid to translate this way where you know you want me to go with this. Hear that? If you seek God, all the ways of Hashem are just and righteous. Therefore, yisgaru bam. What is that? Yisgaru bam? It sounds like they'll become ger in them. Hold on a second. I think there's a word tager. Hold on. That might be different. This could be one of those things, though. Provoke, here, complain, bargain, chatter, quarrel. To complain against an injustice. That's what ger is, isn't it? It's complaining about the injustice. Let's see if it fits here. Exactly. L'chein yisgairu bam. How's this for an alternative definition of yisgairu? Right? Yisgairu bam. That you'll complain of injustice in them. That's how you get the laws of Hashem. You have to complain about the injustices. That's what the ger movement is. That's all I do. That's all I do. That's how you get ger. You have to complain. I'm serious. That's all it is. It's an injustice. Don't tell me ger is convert only. That's an injustice to these people who want to do more than 7 and not convert. Blame God, not me. It's an injustice. That's awesome. This pasuk, this verse is the what do you call that? Not civil rights. It's a civil rights movement. This verse is where it's at, and that makes sense. People arguing about the Constitution, and right. The bottom line is, if you're not getting it from the law from this angle of wisdom, you're just a radical leftist. I mean, I hate to say it that way, but it's true. Because it's that, wow. How everyone always asks, how does a leftist become a leftist? Here's the answer to that question. If you are not chasing the law through the houses of God, you are sitting in the council of the wicked. And therefore you will not champion the right cause. This verse is left versus right. How do you like that? That's the David Katz pshat. Left versus right. The Reisha is the left, and the Seifa is the appropriate right. The feet. Shani is Halo Ashira is the Russia Ashir Yigzal Mishpat. That the second one, the Russia, you praise the Russia, and you're going to steal the law, and you're going to govern through murder. Wow, is this heavy or what? Whoa. Because they don't understand the law. And afterwards, that they are always an evil. They switch over. They literally radicalize and fundamentally, I'm using those words, right? Fundamentalize the ways of the law. Is this not where religion comes from? Is this not where religion comes from? They don't understand anything or anything of value of law. But those seeking God to understand, they learn for everything the ways of the law, and they also understand evil as it pertains to the Russia. Because there's laws of the wicked. So they understand that. With that, we have finished the discourse of this to discern. Mazel tov to you. We'll pick up next time with English to discern, and then we're in the home stretch, the words of understanding.